Alright, everyone. Hope you all had a good Saturday. I'm here. Nether White is back, and for me, I had a okay Saturday, I guess. Apart from lunch and dinner, I got to watch some interesting videos about music industry related stuff. But I think I'll do that in another video. Mainly, I want to share about how the cybersecurity test that I did this morning went lah for me. To be frank, that test was surprisingly, fundamental and basic. So the things that they were teaching are like not teaching, sorry. The things that were being tested were very basic concepts from object-oriented programming, such as classes wasn't covered, but loops, if conditions, functions, arrays, variables, that kind of stuff. Basically these five lah. But I think what made it tricky was that the specific language construct, meaning the way that they implemented these concepts, that they use these concepts in language they made up or defined, which is called the syntax. It was trickier than I would say it was trickier than expected to handle a few of the, I would say the last three questions. But otherwise, I understood the concept as it was, and the other questions they got from almost, for me, no-brainer to about medium difficulty maybe, and then where it got really hard is probably the third last question. And I recall I took 45 minutes or close to that to solve a question, which is an array sorting question. If I were to give an example, is you have a bunch of numbers, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're all messed up. Basically the order is messed up, but using only computer algorithms and programming and whatever syntax that they give, you are to sort them in a certain order. And that kind of thing, and that question actually got me stumped. Like, I probably forgotten whether I think at the time I had forgotten how I'd done sorting, even though it was covered once back in uni, because normally because I did Python, and they already covered sort as a function by itself already. But the actual mechanics behind the sorting function, they were not really touched back then. I guess that's where the learning or the knowledge gap was, and what created that really long delay. Thankfully though, the rest of the questions, I think there's about 20, they were about okay lah, and I finished with about 20 minutes to go. Although I admit, because the webcam, they have the webcam and screen sharing on, to check whether, to ensure that you're not, cheating by opening other tabs and referring to notes and things like that. As my first time doing it, I felt kind of uneasy, and for a period of time I had to go to the toilet lah, basically. I don't know, maybe it wasn't a good choice it wasn't a very wise thing to do. But as always, it's a first time. At least if I have to take it again, I know better, and I'll be more prepared for it, right? And for those of you who are aiming to take this test as well, understand if you understand what is object-oriented programming, like what I did, which is the concept of it is fairly as simple as defining a word in Urban Dictionary or what, you know, like trendsetters, they're the ones who define new words and stuff. It somewhat works along the same way. Creating variables, how functions work, how arrays work, putting them in a shopping list and things like that. The concept is not as difficult as most will make it out to be, but sometimes it could be the way our brains are wired differently, so and the concept will be understood differently as a result. But otherwise, hopefully when we get a next round, or if I can go for this test one more round, at least I will do better for it lah. Or I will be in a much better circumstances. Yeah. So that's it for now. Maybe, and I'll be getting on to music stuff, I suppose. Yeah.